and this is Riveting Rosie, compromising their traditional roles as women come to the rescue during the conflict of World War II. It's nice to be able to sit down and eat after working so hard. Get a load of the poster. Isn't it crazy? We don't usually look like that. Rosie the Riveter. Who came up with that? I started working here last year, and like many, I wanted to work in the aircraft plant, like in the movies. I guess that I was one of the lucky ones, as I worked for General Motors in the Willow Run plant here in Ypsilanti, Michigan. With so many of our boys off fighting, many of us girls have had to compromise our traditional roles and start working outside our homes. The few men that are still here aren't too happy to see a new woman coming in the door for work. They know that for every woman who walks in, a man is sent to war. It's hard work, but it's also nice having money to buy the things that our families need, though my mother tells me I should save some of it to buy a house of our own once the war's over. I hear that this year, 1943, we will see a record 16 million women in the workforce, 6 million of whom have just entered in the last 2 years. Half of us are working in defense plants making weapons. We used to make up about 1/5 of the workforce. Now we make up about 1/3. I work in the aircraft industry. Hundreds of thousands of other women work in similar jobs. Before the war, there were virtually no women doing what we do now. Now us girls are not only building airplanes, but tanks, explosives, firearms, and ships. We have had to compromise and change what we are used to as mothers and wives. And we have had to change what we wear. I was issued this jumpsuit and shoes. We are not allowed to wear any silk stockings or have any clips in our hair, which must be worn up. Those hair clips could literally mean the difference between life and death around here. Working outside our homes is tough. For me, and many others, not only do we have to work all day in the factory, but we also have to clean the house and care for the children. The biggest conflict that we have as working mothers is trying to figure out what to do with our kids during the day. Most of us end up leaving them with family members, though this is not an option for many, and they have to work really hard to compromise their schedules to make things work out. There are a few places that have daycares right in the factory, but not here. The colored women face many conflicts working in the factory as well. One of my colored friends was telling me about a conflict that she encountered recently. Oh, here she comes. Hey, Rosalie, come tell these folks about what happened to you last month. Oh, hello. I was just taking a break. Last month, something just unfair happened. I got into a big old argument with management. You see, they have these showers in the ladies' room, just so you can get all cleaned up before going home from work. Except these showers is only for the white girls. Can you believe that? Us colored girls ain't even allowed in them at all. No, sir. Well, I just think it is about as unfair as can be. So what did I do about it? I just decided to go take me a shower anyway. Boy, oh boy, did I ever cause a ruckus. Some of those white girls came in and told me that if I did not get out of the shower, that they would go and call security. I told them, go right on ahead. And they did. I just refused to get out of the shower till I was done. Well, I guess management thinks they're making a fair compromise, because now no one can use the showers. Some of those white girls got so mad about it that they went and told the boss that they did not want to work with us colored gals no more. He said that if they wanted their job, they better go get right back to work or they could just resign. So in the end, they didn't get much of a compromise to this conflict either. Seems to have all blown over now, though. I'm lucky to even have this job. As hard as it is for a woman to get a job around here, it is even harder if you're colored. We're at the bottom, that's for sure. In some places, they even refuse to hire us coloreds. Why, they won't even give the colored girls the proper training they need for safety. Guess that they don't feel we're worth it. We're not even allowed to linger once the workday's over. I guess some people just don't want to be around us any longer than they have to. Another thing that has caused some conflict is wages. Most of the women around here get paid about 75 cents an hour. But because we're colored, we only get paid 70 cents. And if that weren't enough to cause a conflict, all us girls get paid less than the men. Most of them make between $1.15 and $1.50 an hour. Talk about unfair. Well, I'd better get back to work. See you, Helen. See, Rosalie, of all the compromises made around here, I feel that the colored gals have made the most. They are just as hardworking as the rest of us. It does seem unfair. What do I do all day, you ask? Come with me and I'll show you. Why, this plant is a well-oiled machine, 67 acres under one roof. We have been referred to as the Grand Canyon of the mechanized world. There were about 3 million cars produced in total up until the war started. Since then, they have scarcely made more than 100, as all the parts and labor have been going toward the war effort. Average car has about 15,000 parts, but a B-24 Liberator long-range bomber has about 1,550,000 parts. And we can produce one of these every 63 minutes. It's been said that we're making them faster than the enemy can shoot them down. It has been projected that we as a nation will have produced nearly 300,000 planes by 1945. Riveting is hard but rewarding work. We use this rivet gun and this bucking bar to set rivets along the airplane fuselage. Sometimes it takes 2 of us working together to set some rivets. I've also done welding and weld inspection. I would inspect the welds to make sure that they were clean and had no imperfections in them. I've had to wear many different hats around here, but it's made my job interesting. This schedule can be grueling. We put in long hours. I'm fortunate though. At the shipbuilding plant in Mobile, Alabama, they work 12-hour shifts Monday through Friday. Saturdays are 10 hours and Sundays are 8. I'm glad that I only have to work 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. Don't tell the men, but the United States Employment Service has reported that not only are us girls capable of doing about 80% of the wartime industry jobs, but they have also found that we are 50 to 100% faster and more efficient than men. Imagine that. I always think about what the men are doing and the conflicts that they face every day. Some of the girls have started making flags with stars on them to hang in their windows. A blue star means that your husband or your son has gone to war, but a gold star means he's never coming back. Seeing these stars makes me proud that I am doing my part to help the war effort. Peace. Isn't that a wonderful word? Just what do most of us plan to do once the conflict of the war is over? I think that more compromises will have to be made once our boys come home. You see, many of us like our jobs, and we're good at them. We don't want to deprive the men of their jobs. They have families to support once they return. Conflicts could arise because many of us want to keep our jobs once the war is over too. Many of us won't have our husbands and will need to continue supporting our families. Although many of us will be able to find other, more traditional feminine jobs, we won't be able to make as much doing them as we do working in the factories. Although this started out for some as a point to prove that we can do it, it has turned into security for our families. We have earned the respect of many men because we have had to work 2 jobs, one in the home and one in the factory. Not all see it this way though. Whatever the outcome, the workforce will never quite be the same as it was once the war is over. More women are working now than ever before. I don't think that we'll ever go back to the same numbers that we had before the war. In that sense, a lifestyle that we had once known has been compromised. Man, that whistle means I have to get back to work, but, you know, Life magazine has paid tribute to the mythical Rosie the Riveter as neither drudge nor slave, but the heroine of a new order. Sounds pretty impressive. I know that I will just keep doing all I can, no matter what compromises I have to make to help the war effort, one rivet at a time.